Hi there! It's summertime, which means it's the big incumbent ALT season. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some advice of what I would do now if I was moving to Japan, knowing what I know now, as someone going into her third year of living here. Since this is going to be a talk-heavy video, I'm going to do something else while I talk about the topic. And that something else I'm going to do is make a hair ornament. This weekend, I'm going with a group of friends to a firework festival. We're all gonna wear yukata, which are summer kimono, casual summer kimono. So I wanna make a hair ornament to match my yukata. But before I do that, I need to stop by Daiso to pick up a few more things that I need to make the ornament. And you're gonna come with me. So let's get going. Daiso is kind of like a dollar store. So everything in there is about 100 yen, which if you ignore the exchange rate, is $1. Real quick, since I'm going to be making a hair ornament in the background of this video, let me give you some information about it. Tsumami Zaiku is a Japanese handicraft. Sources online say it was born in the Edo period and popularized in the Meiji. It's done by folding fabric, namely silk crepe, with tweezers and your fingers, using a starch glue to hold it together. In Japan, I've seen the ornaments worn by both girls and women wearing yukata or kimono. Not everyone who wears kimono or yukata wears these ornaments, and it might be more for special occasions. I don't know how popular of a craft this is, but I love crafting and am a sucker for challenges and time crunch punishment, so I decided to give it a shot. It took me 3 days to make, cutting it close to the wire, and I saw how to do it via YouTube videos. I feel like this is needless to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I am clearly a beginner who used YouTube as her guide. What I do might be completely sacrilegious to the craft, but I used the resources available to me. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to the advice. I have 5 pieces of advice for people who are wanting to move to Japan or are in the process of doing so. I work as an assistant language teacher on the JET program, but I think my advice is generic enough that it doesn't just have to be for people who are going to assistant teach English. My first piece of advice is learn as much Japanese as you can. Start now if you have not already started. Whether you're coming here in a year or 6 months or a month or a week or tomorrow, girl, learn it on the plane. Even if your job doesn't require knowing Japanese, it'll make your life so much better. Like, your quality of life will increase the more Japanese that you know, because you'll be able to interact with your coworkers or just people outside in the world in your daily life. I can attest that not knowing Japanese has really hindered my life experiences here. And I definitely believe that if I had studied more, or if I was currently studying more, I'm in a slump right now, don't come for me. Do as I say, not as I do. I think my quality of life would be so much better now, because I would be less nervous to actually go out and do things like plan trips, or order food, or simply talk to my coworkers. So get on a study regimen now. If it's 10 minutes a day or like an hour a day, whatever you can commit to doing for yourself, I definitely recommend starting to study now so that whenever you get here, you already have the habit of doing that. So it'll be easier for you to keep studying while you're here. For study resources, I definitely recommend looking up the best books or YouTube channels or podcasts that Google has to offer. For me, the things that I use now when I actually do study, I wholly believe in Wanikani for kanji. I was going to a community Japanese class for a while, and the textbook that we used was Mina no Nihongo. It's fine. You can find it nefariously online, but you could also buy it. I did actually buy my copy. There are 2 books for Mina no Nihongo. The first one is the activity book. It's like the main book and it's all in Japanese. And then there's like the complement book, and that one is in whatever your native language is. So if you're watching this, you probably speak English. So it's in English. It has grammar rules and explanations and the vocabulary list in both English and Japanese, and like some other little random cultural information things for each chapter. Sometimes, most times, a lot of times, I get bored of doing textbook work, which is kind of a detriment, but like honestly, it's just the truth of my life. So I like to look up song lyrics for songs that I'm listening to on Spotify, and then I treat the song like a textbook. I I try to find different kanji and understand those, different grammatical points that I don't know and look those up, and of course different vocabulary words. It's just more interesting than reading a textbook. Once you get to Japan, see if you can't find a free or very cheap community Japanese class. I feel like most cities will have them. They're usually taught by retired people, and the people there are really nice. At least that has been my experience when I have gone to the community Japanese class in my city. Piece of advice number 2. If you're a shy person, be braver. Start the habit of talking to people, anyone and everyone, early on, like right when you arrive in Japan. Go to as many new places as you can. Get quick with Google Translate. This kind of goes back to your quality of life being improved if you can speak Japanese. As someone who is generally shy in public when I don't know people, this has always been something that I've struggled with in the US, and it's definitely something that I struggle with here. If I could go back in time and move here again, I absolutely would force myself to be braver. See, when you first get here, there's so much going on, like it's an information and sensory overload, that you won't be as anxious or as critical about yourself in the interactions that you have here because there's just too much going on for you already. I would definitely take advantage of that and talk to more people, because that sets the precedent of you being someone who is approachable, and it gets the people around you, like your coworkers, used to you talking to them. I've seen the difference between how our new ALT is treated versus how I am treated, because I am not nearly as outgoing as she is. Whenever she first got here, she just talked to anyone and everyone, whether they could speak English or not. She had Google Translate ready and she just went up and talked to people. She asked random teachers questions and said the whole good morning to people whenever she saw them, and I absolutely did not. I basically stuck to my English teachers, and of those, specifically the ones that I was teaching with that year. So I talked to like a whole 3 teachers and occasionally a couple of others who were willing to speak English at me. I wholly regret not taking the new ALT's approach to interactions. So, take it from me. Shy people, be brave. Do your best and talk to as many people as you can, even if the only thing that you can say is "Ohayou gozaimasu" to like the 2 people surrounding you in the office. Do it anyway. It'll give you more confidence to say good morning to more people, and eventually maybe you'll just be able to have whole conversations with them. Piece of advice number 3. Do not bring omiyage. I didn't bring omiyage when I got here, not for everyone, and I stand by this. Spending your money on getting your life together is way more important than buying omiyage for your coworkers. They will already have some kind of interest in you because you're a new foreigner. But if you are a super shy person and you need a pre-planned interaction in order to start a conversation, then go ahead and bring some food. But don't break the bank on it. Space in your luggage is limited. So bring something really, really small, like mini Reese's cups. The omiyage that I did bring was 3 little jars of local honey. And honestly, I only gave that to one person who was helping me out with getting my life set up here, and I ate the other 2 because I like honey. Piece of advice number 4, packing. If all you were to bring is 8 days of clothes and money, you would be just fine surviving. Not thriving, but surviving. You could definitely survive here on that before your first paycheck. Though Japan is on the other side of the world from at least the US, it is still a modern enough country. Japan has toiletries and food and clothing and furniture, so technically everything you need, you can buy it here. So you shouldn't stress out about packing. That being said, if you are loyal to a specific brand of something, you may or may not find it here. I recommend looking on Amazon Japan, iHerb Japan, or the Japanese Rakuten site. Rakuten is kind of like Japanese Amazon. See if you can't find the brands that you like on these sites before you get here, so you know how much of whatever specific thing you want you need to pack in your suitcase. I would have brought more pads, toothpaste, hair products, tea, and grape and blackberry jam. I have not been able to find grape jam or grape jelly here, and my hair is mixed girl curly hair. Japan is not mixed girl curly, and I am kind of brand loyal to some of my hair products. I did bring a lot, but not enough. I did mention tea just now, and I know Japan is like a tea capital of the world, but like a green tea capital. And while I do like green tea, I love black tea and all the different flavors you can get of it. So I would have brought an abundance of my favorite flavors from my favorite tea companies if I had known that Japan did not have a robust black tea scene. Piece of advice number 5. Learn how to make your favorite foods at home before you get here. I knew how to cook and bake before I came to Japan. I've actually known that for a long time. Being able to make my favorite foods has really helped buffer the culture shock aspect of moving to a new country. If you're not a good cook now, I don't think you actually have to be. Just learn like 1 or 2 dishes with the time that you have left before you come here. Make a list of the ingredients and tools and appliances you need to make your favorite foods. And then look up on Japanese shopping sites like Amazon and Rakuten and see if you can find these ingredients. There are some international stores. Availability of those stores and the products that they have might differ from store to store or prefecture to prefecture. So consult the internet to see if the ingredients you're looking for will be hard to find. Check out Reddit and see if other people have struggled finding the ingredients that you're looking for in particular, because I feel like the worst thing that could happen is you perfect how to make a cranberry vinaigrette salad with feta, only to find out you can't get feta cheese. Or if you can get it, it's like $30 for an ounce. Exaggerated but true story. Bonus advice. Okay, so this one is actually ALT specific. It applies to people who lived when physical photos were the only way and not an aesthetic. I would have digitized photos from my life in high school, like activities that I did and random in-school pictures, just so that I could show the differences between a Japanese high school and an American high school, and so that I had proof of the activities that I say that I did. So I teach at a high school, and though I was in high school before they were born, some things like school are universally understood. So I think it would have been more interesting to show a picture of me on the swim team or playing the violin than me just telling them that I did, like pick or didn't happen. So my advice would be, if you have physical photos, digitize them. And if you already have digital photos, see if you can find photos that are relatable to the grade level that you're going to be teaching. Grade level as in elementary school or middle school or high school. I was going to talk about apartment advice in this video, but I think I'll save it for when I do an actual apartment tour, which I realize I have not done since I moved in here. The only video that I have of my apartment is when it was empty. So in my next few videos, one of those is going to be a furnished apartment tour. In that video, I'll give some advice about furnishing an apartment and a little bit about finding an apartment, or at least my experience about it. Anyway, that's all the advice that I have for today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them in a timely fashion, because I'm not great at that yet. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, bye!